Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to try to do something a little actually interesting here today. I went to the hobby shop this afternoon and bought some sheet styrene. I bought myself 3 packets of 060 and I bought 3 packets of 040. And then I bought some more structural pieces. I bought some 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. And the reason why I bought these, as you can see, it's basically just a solid square chunk of styrene. We're going to use this to reinforce our corners when we glue this together. And then when we go to finish our box, we can actually round the edge off and make it seamless. That gives us plenty of stock to work a rounded corner into this once we get to that point. But I wanted to bring up again, remember when you buy these sheets, they are not truly square on all 4 sides. I've already cut this one to my 8-inch length I needed, but I ensured that it was squared up. And in the process, I discovered that my paper template that I did last night is not square, which I kind of didn't think it would be because I was just kind of eyeballing things. But another thing we did, remember we talked in the last video about extending this a little bit. So that's what I went and did. And I added another 1/8 of an inch to the front of this. And the reason why I say just to the front is I originally started off at 8.5. Now I'm going to go to 8 5/8. And I would show that on my calipers, but they're only 6-inch, so I can't. But what I'm going to do is when I go to cut my wheel wells, I will start from the back edge and I will measure up my 2 inches for this wheel well. I'll measure up another 2 for this one, and then the rest of it plus the extra 1/8 of an inch will be on the far side. And then we'll work on the 4-inch area, which I think we need to do right now. So I've went ahead and set my calipers up to 4 inches exactly. 4 inches 0 thousandths. Tighten this down. And all we're going to do is put this on the edge. Well, this may not work, but I'm going to try it because I'm right-handed. I have to be on a certain side. We're going to put this on one edge of the styrene. Let me back up here a little bit to see if this is getting it. Remember, this side's our depth gauge. Put that on the edge of the styrene, right here. Bring your rule up. Just butt it up right here. Okay? Kind of hold that in place. Now we're going to go up here and verify this side. And then my lamp's in the way, so let me pull back some. Again, put it on the edge of the styrene. And keep all your crap out of the way. Put it on the edge of the styrene. Touch it. Metal to metal, you can hear it. Then we'll come back to this side. Push that over. Metal to metal. Go back, do one more verification up here. Metal to metal. And there we go, we have our 4 inches. So without moving this guy, take our X-Acto. Again, we're using the back side of the blade. And we'll just come up, make a light pass on that. Doesn't matter how many times you go because there will be sanding involved. And see how that dull blade really gives you guys a great shaving there. So it's actually cutting. So take a few light passes from that, turn it over, and just snap it. And it breaks right off. Okay? So we'll clean up this mess for a second and then we'll lay out for our wheel wells. All right, we're back. What I did, we've got our 8 5/8 by 4 inch piece of styrene. Here's our little handmade paper template we did last night. We need to get center line for our wheel wells. So I simply matched this end up to the edge of the styrene. And we know we're at 2 inches and 4 inches. So I adjusted my calipers initially at 2 inches. And again, we laid it on the side. We done the same thing. Laid it, squared it up. Okay. Here and down here at 2 inches. And then I moved it to 4 inches. I don't know if these, I just put a light center line mark on here. I think there you go. 2 inches, 4 inches. Now to get our actual wheel well, I use this circle gauge, and it has all kinds of sizes on it. This one's 1 inch, which is the smallest, and it goes all the way up to 2 inches. So I chose something that I thought, or that I think is going to work. And here's just a 125 scale truck tire. Okay, the 1 3/4 hole. It goes in there really, really well. It fits nice and easy. And that gives us a fairly good gap all the way around. But the only thing we're concerned about is half of the hole. You can see every one of these holes is marked. At least I think you can. Center line top to bottom, center line from side to side. So all we're going to be concerned about is the top half of our hole. So we're going to take this down, and we're going to find our 1 3/4 hole. And I'm going to do this a little upside down because this one has a little divot in it right here that makes your hole a little off. So all we're going to do, we're going to line the center line hole up to the bottom of our styrene. And then you're going to line your center line you drew with the center line of the hole. Just like eyeballing a crosshairs on your long-range rifle or a scope. Make sure all 3 points are lined up. 1, 2, 3. Just take a somewhat sharp pencil, draw it in there. Now the difference between, you know, the size of your lead, it never truly gets to the edge, but that gives us some wiggle room and some room to play with. So we'll do the same thing for our next hole. Line it up, line it up, line it up, bring it right into the crosshairs. Make sure you don't move your template. Kind of hold it down, and then we'll draw around that half circle. Okay? And you should wind up with something like that. Now I will take my knife. I'll make 3 cuts. I'll cut down the center. I'll cut this way and that way on these. I will break that out, and then I will use my drum sander with put this in my Black & Decker motor tool, and we'll carve these out. We'll be right back. All right, you see we got one cut out. We'll go ahead and cut the other one out, the second one on camera. So I'm just going to take my rule down the center line, and this doesn't have to be perfect at all. Matter of fact, it doesn't even have to be close, because you just want to remove the material. I mean, you could sit here with the drum sander on your motor tool and remove all of it, but if anybody's ever done that with a motor tool and a drum sander, you get some pretty good piles of hot styrene that like to come flying off of that and kind of burn your legs sometimes. So we've got our cut in the middle. Now remember our leading edge here for the wheel well, so we just want to cut a little triangle. Doesn't have to be anywhere close. We'll just take several light passes. Remember, in my previous videos, I said you want all your pressure on your left hand that's holding your straight line, your straight edge down, so that doesn't move on you. Because if you don't, when you go back to do this thing could move, and then you're like, shit, and then you've put a gouge all the way over on it. So we've got this one cut. We'll kind of move it over a little bit. We'll go ahead and slice this side off some. And always be aware where you are putting your fingers. You don't want to cut yourself. We'll take some nice light cuts. See those nice shavings coming off of there. And we don't have to cut all the way through. We got a nice triangle cut out of that. Then we'll take a pair of pliers, hold it, bend it a little bit, and it snaps right out, okay? And then remember, as I said in previous videos, never throw your scrap pieces away, because now looky there, if I continue and snap this, I've got 2 great 45-degree corners that I can use for basically anything, you know, securing up a corner of something. They always come in handy, and that's why I have bags of them. You know, you just have to know that they're there. I mean, I've got round tube, I've got all thicknesses in here, because they really come in handy when you start to scratch build. And those are always down here by my feet. So we've got our length, our height, our wheel wells dimensioned out. Now the next step is to take the drum sander and go around this. So now I keep 2 of them down here by my feet all the time. One's got my diamond wheel for when I cut glass in it. That one stays there. Let me get this back open some. There we go. Stick that drum sander in there. Tighten her down. This is an old Black & Decker that I have had for a long time. It does have a variable speed drive on it. I always keep it on low because you don't want to actually melt this plastic. It's going to melt anyway on its own. But we're going to turn it on, and we're just simply going to go around this wheel well. I'll do as much of this on camera as I can, but probably won't be able to do all of it. My drum's a little loose. See, I'm going to try to get to the line as close as I can, but you can stay away from it and then final sand everything out by hand. All right, so that is half of one wheel well, and let me finish this up, and we'll be right back. All right, here we are. Remember in my video when I was finished up with the 63 Ford, I said, time to clean the shop. Well, this is why, because look at all this crap that you get build up from the styrene when you start cutting, grinding. That's why I keep a shop vac up here. But we'll gather most of this up, and you'll notice our shavings here are rather small, and I let those naturally break off when you're using that drum sander. You got it on and you're taking a little bit, and if you move the drum forward like that, it will make the shaving pop off of it so it doesn't overheat. But here's our rough cut, and I say rough because we got some inside edges here that we need to take care of. We need to address all the rough edges, okay? But we are well on our way to having that all set. Now remember, I said I'm going to cut the wheel wells actually out of some tread plate, so I just wanted to do this for demonstration, and I may just go ahead and do the other side as well, but I'll mark this out, or 200 thousandths, and go ahead and trim this out once I have these established on both pieces. That way it gives this part will turn into my next template for the tread plate. But there's one side, and let's check see what our height might look like, if I can even do this. So we want down about a ½ inch or so. So we're not going to be too high. And then remember, We will round off all the corners really well, the top, and I bought 60 and 40 thousandths sheets today. But you got some cleanup to do on your edges, which we're not going to worry about because we're going to add our structural pieces on the inside, and we're going to round everything off nice and smooth. Not a big deal. But there we go. We started making our box, and I hope you guys enjoy what you're watching. I'm not really set up camera wise to film as I actually build, but you know, I take a lot of breaks. I go outside and have a cigarette or two, and then I'll come back up, and you know, I got to get my pop in. Or sometimes I will catch one of y'all's videos on YouTube and just have to sit here in amazement and watch. But I'll come back later with another recap of hopefully having our box all glued up together and ready to go on the frame. So I appreciate you guys watching. Everybody have a great day.